right? So, uh, all praise to the Most High, right? This is a Shabbat service. Shalom, King. Going into, not giving up, man, right? Just staying in the fight, continuing to endure, right? Continuing to endure with long suffering, continuing to endure with faith, continue with the strength of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Continuing to put up the fight, man, right? So I'm gonna read it again, Matthew 24. I didn't realize I was on mute, Salakia. Right, it's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, right, and verse number 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So you got a lot of struggles, strife, tribulations coming to the earth, man, right? We're going through things now, but we have much worse things to come, right? So these things that we're going through now are to build our faith for the worst things that are to come, right? This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 50. And it says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world because they have walked in great pride, right? Great miseries are to come on this earth, man. It's not a good thing coming to this earth. Nothing beautiful is coming, right? And we have to make sure that we understand the trials and tribulations we go through now are to build our faith that in the latter times we'll have faith in the Lord, right? In the times when you don't see any way to get food, when you don't see a way to be in safety, right? You have faith in the Lord because He brought you through so many tribulations leading up to this point, right? And this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 13, and verse. What do I want to start? Right. This is Second Ezra chapter 14 is what I want. Second Ezra chapter 14, right? And verse number 13. Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet great evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done thereafter. Right? So there's much more evils that's going to come upon this earth, man. And you got to literally cast away the mortal thoughts in your mind as you continue to walk in faith with the Lord, man. There are great things coming upon the earth, man. Great plagues coming upon the earth, man. Right? Great pestilence, great famines. Right? So the things we go through now, although they're hard, although they may be hard to fight off, although they may be hard to endure through in a moment, right? At the end of the day, these things have nothing on the things that are to come upon the earth. So we got to make sure that we cast off the weak nature, man, right? And how do we cast off the weak nature? How do we build that strength, man, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, right? It's the book of Psalms, right? Chapter 18 and verse 2. The Most High is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower, man. So how do you build that strength? How do you put off the weak nature? You run into the tower of the Most High. That's who's going to strengthen you in these times. And all the times when we go through these what is it called? Afflictions, these persecutions, right? We had to cast off the weak nature by running to the Most High. We got to run into the Most High, man, right? We can't run away from the Most High. We got to run into the Most High, right? So we got to understand, right? We are going through things. We are going through tribulations. We are going through fires, man, right? But the fires are only to continue to refine you and get you to be stronger, man, right? And purified for the times that are to come, right? Let's get another precept. Hey, I gotta mute the mic. All right, let's get another precept. All right, let's go to the book, right, of Sirach. Right, it's the book of Sirach. Where is it at? It's the book of Sirach, chapter 27. What I want, 27 and verse. Where I want to start. I'm gonna start at verse 10. As the lion lieth in wait for his prey, so sin for them that work iniquity. The discourse of a godly man is always with wisdom, but a fool changes as the moon. If thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time, be continually among men of understanding. Right? This is another way that you walk in strength. This is another way that you continue to fight. This is another way that you don't give up, man. Right? To be continually among men of understanding. Right? And they kind of exhort you when you fall. Right? They kind of help you to be built up. That's part of the strength of the Most High. The strength of the Most High is Him giving us a body that we can lean on. Right? That we can actually help bear our burdens with, man. Right? Let me get another precept. Right? So we got to understand we can't give up in these last days. We got to be literally strengthening ourselves in the things the Lord has given us, man. Right? And the Lord has given us a body. The Lord has given us brothers and sisters. The Lord has given us, His Spirit that we can tap into right through prayer and fasting, man. Right? So we got to cast off the weak nature. Right? And I know it's easier said than done. I'm not saying it as if it's an easy thing. You kind of just, hey, you know what? I don't want to be weak anymore, and it's gone. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this is what we have to do if we want to endure. We can't give up, right? Hey, I don't want to see any person that I know is an Israelite or even I see watching on our channel, right? And they give up, man, right? I love all my people, man. I want all my people to endure and continue to fight all the way to the end, man, till the Lord comes and brings them home, right? This is the book. This is the classic precept, right, of Galatians, right? It's the book of Galatians. Right, chapter 6. Right, it's the book of Galatians, chapter 6, right, and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such as one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted, man. Right? So if one of our people be overtaken in a fault, right, hey, we literally supposed to restore them, man. Right? That's why I read that precept. It says what? I'm going to go back to it. It says, if thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time, be continually among men of understanding. Right? So a man of understanding would be a spiritual man. And if you continually around men of understanding and you're overtaken in a fault, hey, these men of understanding are supposed to what? Restore you back to health, man. Right? Restore you back to health, considering thyself, considering themselves, man. Like, hey, it's a time when I may fall short. It's a time when I be maybe waxing weak. It's a time when I be kind of, I may not have the strength, man. And I got to kind of lean on my brother to get that strength. And when you're in the gym and you lifting up that weight and you're trying to get stronger, you always got to have a spotter behind you, man. Why do you got to have a spotter behind you? Because when that weight starts to fall down, that spotter comes up under you and lifts that weight up off of you, man. It's the same way, man, with this truth, right? Hey, this truth gets heavy sometimes. Hey, this truth kind of, can get real heavy where it's almost crushing your chest, man. And what do you have? You have your brothers and your sisters that are spotters behind you to lift that weight up off of you, man. Right? That's how you continue to fight, man. That's how you continue to endure, man. Right? Read on. It says what? Bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Right? So we got to literally bear each other's burdens, man. Right? It says what? For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Right? At the end of the day, you bear your brother's burden, but we still have to bear our own. Right? Let me get one more. It's the book of Romans. Right? And there's a lot of precepts on this, man. It's the book of Romans, right? Chapter 15. It's like 14. Come on, it's the book of that's not what I want. Bear with me. Come on, book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 1. It says, we then that are strong are to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. Let every one of us please his neighbor for his good. So like it, let every one of us please his neighbor for his good to edification. It says what? We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not please ourselves, man. So literally, the body that the Lord has given us is the strength. So what I was going into is literally the fact, right? In order for us to continue in the fight and not give up, right, we have to run to the strength of the Most High, right? That's how we put off the weak nature, by running to the strength of the Most High. And the strength of the Most High, part of the strength of the Most High is the body that He has given us. Because the body He's given us is going to help for you to bear those infirmities, to bear those iniquities, man, to strengthen you, man, to help you to keep on going, man, right? Let me get one more, right? So, real quick, bear with me. Real quick, Salaki. Right here. It's the book of First Maccabees. Let me see. Well, I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna find it and come back to it. Right, brothers got it.
Salaki. Right. Let me get the book real quick, man. And it's not an easy thing, man. It's not an easy thing to bear your brother's infirmities, man. To bear your brother's weaknesses, right? To be there for one another. That's not an easy thing. It requires diligence. It requires you constantly looking at your people, man, seeing what they need, man. This brother who's known for being loud, known for talking to people, out of nowhere this week he's quiet. He's to himself. You find out that he's distant. All of these things you got to be aware of, man. Right? This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 5. It says what? No. Salaki. 2 Samuel 23 and verse 3. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of Yahweh. To be a ruler of men, to be over men, you got to be in the fear of the Most High God, man. That means you got to be scared to offend against the Heavenly Father, man. Scared to watch your brother wax worse and worse and not do anything, man. You have to be scared not to restore your brother, man. You have to constantly be there and do what you got to do for your people, man. In the fear of the Most High God. And sometimes that would require late nights, man. Late nights of you studying. Late nights of you reading, man. You losing sleep, man. Sometimes that requires you coming out your pocket to help your brother, man. Righteously, man. And sometimes that requires, you know what I'm saying, you going with that brother. If he asks you to go 1 mile, hey, you go with him too, man. All of this stuff is very important, man. But you can't just help somebody, you know what I'm saying, and not be Salakia. You can't help people, right, and not be in the position to do that. And they tell you on the airplanes, right, first secure your own mask before you put it on your children, man. So you got to get yourself in a position to be able to help people, man. And how do you do that? This is right here. The book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse I'm gonna go with verse 6. Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden parts thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Hey, so what, you gotta have truth and wisdom within your inner parts, man, within your vessel. And we all know that wisdom will not into a malicious spirit, man, or a body that's subject unto sin. So you have to be in a position, right, for you to receive the things of the Most High God. Reading on, purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Right, jumping down to verse 10, what it says: create in me a clean heart, O Yahweh, and renew a right spirit within me. So sometimes you got to do that prayer, man. And sometimes you got to ask the Lord to renew a clean heart within you, just so you can do the work of the Lord, man. Even mightier, even stronger, man. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we are operating at a level 5, man. Our forefathers on level 8, level 9, level 10, man. Hey, they was able to bring people back from the dead, man. Call fire down from heaven, man. We aren't able to do that now, but we got to build our strength up so we may do that. Go ahead, King.
I'm gonna get this real quick. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, "Who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble, right? Because the Lord sent forth what? His Spirit to comfort us in what? In tribulation, in times of despair, when we may be pressed above measure, right? As we're going to read, it says, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. For as the sufferings of Hamashiach abound in us, right? And that's pretty plain, right? Because the scriptures say, if you live godly in Hamashiach, you're going to suffer certain things, right? This isn't a strange thing that come upon you. Roughly paraphrasing in the book of First Peter, right? Let me grab this real quick. In, 2 Timothy chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? What is that hardness? The hardness might be whatever schism you may be having in your body, whatever sin you may be falling into over and over and over again. That's that hardness. Right? At some point in time, you have to endure that hardness. You have to overcome that hardness, right? But it's through the mercy of the Lord. Right? Remember that. Right? Here's the point. Verse 12. Right? Slaki. It says, I'm going to start at verse 11. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. And what is that talking about? Us mortifying the members of our bodies, right? Us casting down Satan within our bodies. Right? We killed the old man, we come up anew. Right? That's a part of endurance. Right? Because if you don't endure and casting away the old man, well then that old man is going to continue to grow and increase upon you. And you living in the old man again. Right? It says, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. Right? So you're going to suffer tribulation in these things. Right? That's literally what Yahweh said to the children of Zebedee. Right? To the mother of the sons of thunder. Right? James and John. She said, hey, look. So like he said, look. Hey, if they're able to drink of this cup, hey, they'll surely inherit the kingdom. Right? Roughly paraphrasing in the book of Matthew chapter 20. Right? Let's go back to it. 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 5. It says, for as the sufferings of Hamashiach abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Hamashiach. And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer. Right? So the brothers say, hey, look, we suffer just like you suffer. And this is all necessary for the empowerment, right, of the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, right? It says, like, ultimately, that's what it is. When you're going through affliction, I'm gonna grab this real quick. When you're going through affliction, you got to know it's so that the name of the Lord may be magnified, right? Let's get this in John, right? John chapter 11 and verse, I'm gonna start at 1. It says, John chapter 11 and verse 1. Now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus, right? And all of us, we're sick, right? We need the doctor. We need Yahushua, right? It says, of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sister sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. And who's that talking about? Right? In the context, it's talking about Lazarus, right? But we know that's talking about Israel. How are we sick? Because we got all these different spirits upon us. Right? We've been disconnected from our God for so long, we don't know how to truly serve him. Right? We need help. We need a doctor. We need medicine via the words of the Lord. Right? It says, and when Yahushua heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death. So whatever you may be going through in this truth, it's not unto death, right? Hey, it's not so that the Lord, he can kind of point his finger and laugh at you, right? But let's find out. It says, but for the glory of Yahweh, that the Son of Yahweh may be glorified thereby. Meaning what? So that we can magnify the name of the Lord when he heals us, when he pulls us through those tribulations and through those trials, right? And I'm going to grab this last one. In 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 6. It says, and whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer. Or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the sufferings, so shall ye be also the consolation. Meaning what? The children of the kingdom, right? But I yield with that.
I'm gonna go to some of the precepts most visible. I'm gonna go to Hebrews 12. I'm gonna start at 6. It says, "For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth." Salakia. And it says, verse 7, "If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as sons. As for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?" So you're going to end up going through some things. You're going to be chastised. You're going to be afflicted. But if you trust in the Lord, you're going to rise above it all, right? And it's not going to be easy. Because I'm going to jump down to verse 11. It says, "Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous," because it's not. In the times when you're going through it, some people might be like, why me, all this type of stuff, but you can't let your faith fail. You know what I'm saying? You got to trust in the Lord to deliver you up out of that. So it says, "Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby." It's gonna work you out, for lack of a better word. Spiritually, it's gonna exercise your faith. You know what I'm saying? And show you that you can truly do the Philippians 4:13. You know what I'm saying? So let me grab another one. So
King, since you brought that up, I think you should get that start at verse 11.
what? Hebrews 12.
No, Philippians 4:11. Like a lot of people don't understand
Oh,
that.
I wasn't gonna grab it. I was just gonna breeze by it, but I'll read it.
Yeah, we start at verse 11 because that the context of that is powerful, bro. It's really going into what we're talking about.
So, all right. Philippians 4:11. Now that I speak in respect of, Salaki, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Mashiach, which strengthens me. Going elaborate on that.
Yeah, so what Paul is saying is he said, hey, I know how to be, exalted. I know how to be abased. I know how to be hungry. I know how to be full. And in all things, what I'm saying, I can endure it through Christ who strengthened me. I can endure when I'm abased. I can endure when I'm hungry and I'm suffering because Christ strengthens me. Right? It's not only through the good, but it's through the bad. A lot of times people pull that precept out in the wrong context. Like it means they can jump off a building and fly. Like it's not talking about that. It's literally saying, hey, when you're going through hell and affliction, you can still abound and you can still endure through it, literally through the spirit of Yahweh who strengthens you, man. Right? That's what it's talking about. It's literally going into exactly what we're talking about, man. But go ahead, King.
Con. So I'm gonna go to Sirach 2:11, because the thing is, you can't be, faint-hearted or teeter-tottering in your faith. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to endure affliction, but in the same sense, keep your trust in the Lord. So verse Sirach 2:12, it says, "Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended." So if you faint-hearted, double-minded or whatnot, then it says, "Woe unto you! You won't be defended or protected by way of the Lord. You're not gonna have that covering over you if you don't wholeheartedly trust in Him, right?" And whatchamacallit, I'm gonna jump up to the top, because that Uriah jumped into that. So verse 1, it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure. So you gotta constantly endure. You don't just endure one time throughout your, your tribulations, or when the Lord is you know, maybe for lack of better words, chastening you. That's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, it says set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Because in the time of trouble, a lot of us make hasty decisions. We don't come to the Lord. We don't depend on the Lord. We just act impulsive, and want what we want to happen immediately, right? And then the point that I wanted to get into, verse 3, it says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last end. That's saying the same thing. If we basically, believe in him, you know what I'm saying, and show forth our faith, then we'll be defended. But it starts by cleaving unto him. And last one, it's one of my favorites as far as going with faith. It's Sirach 25:12. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of his love, and faith is the beginning of cleaving unto him. So you've proven your faith by cleaving unto the Lord, and he will defend you in those times when you've been afflicted, but you can't waver with your heart. But with that, you got it, brother.
Salaki, I can make a point real quick. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30. I'm going to start at verse 1, right? Because just to deal in context of what J. Mike just said, he said, in times of trouble, we oftentimes try to do things our own way rather than seeking the counsel of the Lord. All right. It says, and it came to pass when David and his men would come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people, no, hold on, let's put things in perspective. It said that we was invaded by another nation, and by the time we got back, we like, damn, the city burned to fire. Where are all our children? Where are our women? Right? It says, then David and the people that were with him lift up their voice and wept until he had no more power to weep. And David's two wives were taken captives. Ahinoam the Jezreelitess and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, right? And oftentimes throughout our day-to-day tribulations in this world, we kind of find ourselves greatly distressed, right? But we tend to do things our own way rather than seeking the Lord's counsel, seeking his face. Let's find out what David does. It says, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Right? David, he had a different spirit. David encouraged himself in Yahweh. Right? David sought the face of the Lord rather than to do things at his own will at his own time. Right? Giving unto his own lust. Roughly, you know what I'm saying? Roughly paraphrasing. Right? So, when things are going south, I'll say, you got to make sure that you seeking the Lord in all things. Right? Because I'm not going to read the whole account, but in the end of this account, hey, David sought the counsel of the Lord. He said, Lord, shall I go up and smite these people? And the Lord said, come. Right? So with that, I'll pass it.
Hey, brother, what are you talking about, King? Right? Players code. What are you talking about? Right? This is a no folly zone. Right? So, brother, if you got a serious question or you need some serious counsel, you can email us. If not, King, refrain from the folly lest you be blocked. Right? So like I was bringing out, like we've been bringing out, what I'm saying? We got to trust in the Lord for our strength, right? And the Lord is literally, like I said, he sends men and women and people of the body to help strengthen us in the hard times, right? As well as we can trust in the Lord and call on the Lord on our own as well, huh? As David did, right? This is the book, First Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 2. And I saw that the people saw was in great trembling and fear, he went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together. Right? So our people was in trembling and fear. Hey, as a lot of times we may be, man. It don't always have to be war that makes you trembling in fear, right? Right? We can tremble in fear because we don't know how we're gonna pay our bills. We can tremble in fear because we're in a form of sickness. We can tremble in fear because we got a form of anxiety or depression, man. Many things can make you tremble in fear, right? And he gathered the people together. He knew that they was trembling in fear, and as a leader, right, he gathered the people together. As a man of the Most High, he gathered the people together. Read on. It says, by reason whereof all my brethren, so like verse 3, and he gave them exhortation, saying, ye yourselves know that what great things I and my brethren and my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary, the battles also and the troubles which we have seen. So he's exhorting his people, man. And says what? By reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone. Now therefore, be it far from me that I should spare my own life in any time of trouble, for I am no better than my brethren. Doubtless I will avenge my nation, the sanctuary, and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of very malice. Right? Hey, and Satan's angels are always gathered around us to destroy us. They're always gathered around us to bring us down, man. Satan's angels are just like these heathens. It's a constant battle and fight, and they're always gathered around us to destroy us, man. Right? And you can call on a brother, or a brother can call on you and bring you this form of exhortation through right words. And it says what? Now, as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived, man. Right? So the right words from a righteous man or a man or a woman of understanding can revive your spirit, man. Right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 18 and verse 16. Shall not the dew assuage the heat? So is a word better than a gift. Right? So, hey, you can literally exhort your brother or your sister with a word, which is better than a gift, man. Right? This is Isaiah chapter 30, and I'm gonna let brothers give closing precepts. We got to go ahead and get up out of here, right? It's about book Isaiah chapter 30, right, in verse number 18, and it says, "And therefore would a Most High wait that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted that he may have mercy upon you. For the Most High is a power of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him." Right? So, hey, don't give up. Continue to endure and have faith in the Lord, because it says, blessed are all they that wait for the Lord, man. So wait on the Lord, man. Right? Go ahead, Potter. We got to close out. Make our precepts as quick as possible, Baruch Shah.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 86 and verse 15. But thou, O Yahweh, art a God full of compassion and gracious, long-suffering, and plenteous in mercy and truth. So that's plain, man. Hey, the Lord's full of compassion, man. If you need help, he got you, man. He's merciful. He's merciful and he's truth, man. Hey, if you need a brother to strengthen you, they got you, man. All due to the power of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. Come on.
Let me grab this in Acts chapter 21 and verse 13. It says, then Paul answered, what mean ye to weep and to break mine heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai. And when he would not be persuaded, we see saying, the will of the Lord be done. Right? So this is the will of the Lord. Right? It's your lot. You have to endure this thing, man. Right? Don't be weak in the faith and be delivered unto Satan. Right? And ultimately cast down. Right? So with that, I yield.
All right, time. I'm gonna just grab one. This is Psalm 119 and 49. It says, remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. So through affliction, you can be, made alive, which is what quickening means, as well as it's going into what was brought out earlier. You know what I'm saying? Through your affliction, you will exercise your faith. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, you'll be brought through by way of the Lord. There's one more on there. I'm going to jump down to verse 71, ultimately saying the same thing. And it says, it is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. Through affliction, it's going to bring you closer to the Lord. So you're going to have to end up going through it, but you're going to come out, better on the other end, at the latter end. But that's all I got.
Lord willing, somebody who was edified will be edified in the coming days. right? It's a short Shabbat class this week. Brothers got to get ready to head to Dallas. Well, the brothers got to head to Dallas. You know what I'm saying? We'll be in Dallas today. You're right. What's the address of the first location? We got 2 camps. What's the first location?
Salaki, let me put it up real quick. Brother put me on blast, man. All right. So it will be 2922 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Dallas, Texas 75215. Again, 2922 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Dallas, Texas 75215. And if you can't find that, it's the MLK Rec. Just type in MLK Rec, Dallas. All right.
Right. So that's the first camp location. That's at 2 p.m. We'll be doing a unity camp with the brothers from Swords of the Spirit, right? And then we got a second camp location around 4 p.m., right? We'll be doing a unity camp with the Battle Hackers of the Most High. That'll be at West End Station by Antioch Church. So all you got to type in is West End Station, Antioch Church. Come out, fellowship, and congregate. The water sisters and Nithya, all praise to the Most High, right? Lord willing, y'all was edified. Kwame Yashala. Shalom.
Shalom, family. Shalom.
Shalom.